Everybody home?
I'm sorry there, partner. I guess I fell asleep back there.
Oh, things kind of quiet on Sundays, huh?
Yeah, I think the whole town's over to the big fair over there in Culverton. Is that where you're headed?
No, I just came from there. They're showing some mighty fine-looking horses over there. Are you Mr. Mooney?
Yeah. What'd it be?
Well, how about a glass of milk and a piece of your famous apple pie for a start?
Apple pie, right.
Over there.
Oh, yeah. I don't usually serve customers myself anymore, you see, but I let all the help have the day off so they could enjoy the fair like everyone else.
Oh, including this young lady? Gloria Godwin?
You a cop or something?
Private investigator, Barnaby Jones. Gloria disappeared about 9 weeks ago. Her husband asked me to find her.
She in some kind of trouble with the law?
No. Nowadays, it's a woman that runs away from home and family. Her husband is looking for her.
Huh. Yeah. Well, what makes you think that I'd be any help to you, Mr. Jones?
Well, she's one of your waitresses, isn't she?
One of mine?
According to her employment record.
I see. Oh, yeah, I remember her now. She didn't stay more than a couple of days, though, before she quit about a month ago.
That's funny, because according to my information, about a month ago, she was working up in Merced, and she took this job a few days later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't a month ago that she quit. It was more like a couple of weeks.
Any idea where she is now?
Oh, waitresses come and go. Who can keep track of them, you know?
Well, thank you very much. What I owe you?
Oh, $50.
You having a special on your famous apple pie, Mr. Mooney?
Special?
Sign says 75 cents.
That just proves I should have stayed in bed this morning. With the milk, that'll be $1.
Good pie.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, same to you.
Messing around with them for? Why didn't you just tell them you were closed?
Yeah, well, I got rid of them, didn't I? Well, Mr. Mooney, this belongs to you. But tip belongs to me. Fair's fair, right? I mean, it's not like we're a bunch of cheap crooks.
You got rid of them, huh?
Yeah, I guess he's gonna be trouble after all.
Well, I don't want to use this, but I will if I have to.
Am I going to give those guys competition or what?
Well, I'll tell you, JR. If you could win a tennis championship on looks alone, kid, you got it. What's the first prize? A blonde, brunette, or redhead?
All three. It's a matched set. Is this the report on Brown versus Miller?
Mm-hmm. Would you believe that it took the entire weekend almost to decipher my shorthand? I've got to go back to school.
Where's Barnaby?
The missing wife. You remember he had to go off to Las Mesas?
Oh, yeah. I was sure he'd be back by now, though.
Why? Something wrong?
Could be if I don't get Barnaby to sign these right away.
Well, what's the rush? They don't have to be in New York until court opens on Tuesday.
Tomorrow. Brown's lawyer told me the judge refused a postponement, and he's on his way to the airport in a couple of hours, and I promised him I'd get it to him before his plane left.
I'd better try and reach him up there before he leaves. Let's see. What's that? 555? Information? Yes. I'd like the telephone number of Mooney's Cafe, please.
headed for the hotel.
Stay here.
Mooney's Cafe.
Yes, is a Barnaby Jones there, please? He's a rather tall man, about 6'3".
Oh, no, I never heard of him.
Well,
What's the matter? You already left?
I don't know. He said he never heard of him.
He didn't take a fishing pole with him, did he?
That fair in Culverton. He said something about wanting to look in on it.
Oh, great. He doesn't know about the postponement. He'll spend the whole day up there. I better change out of these and drive up.
JR, wait. Fair's fair. I mean, you have a tennis match, I have a date. I'll flip you to see who goes.
Well, I'm afraid we're both out of luck, Betty. Stay by the phone, keep calling Mooney's Cafe, and if you get Barnaby, tell him I'm on my way up. I don't want to pass him on the road.
Oh, hi.
Hello? Looking for a room? No, I'm looking for a young lady that used to work in the cafe down the street, Gloria Godwin.
Godwin. Godwin, yeah. I heard she left town 2 weeks ago.
Happen to know where she went?
No.
She drive?
Yeah.
Well, then maybe the filling station manager might know. Have you seen him around lately?
Well, I heard him say something about going up to the fair.
Well, the pumps are still unlocked. Somebody must be running the place. I'll wait around down there. Thank you.
Turkey hangs around down there long enough, he's gonna mess things up for sure.
I think you're right. Hey, mister. I just remembered something.
About Gloria?
Yeah. It seems when she checked out of here, she mentioned something about getting a job up at that fair in Culverton.
That Culverton Fair really emptied the people out of this town. She say where?
Yeah. Yeah, a chicken restaurant. It's just past the main entrance, Mr. Jones. You'll find her there.
I don't recall mentioning my name.
Well, you must have. How else would I know it?
Maybe you're right. Well, I better call my office. If I'm going back to Culverton, I've got to let them know where I'll be.
Sure.
Thank you. I have a number of the sheriff's office. Thank you. Whoever's behind the door, come out. I've got a gun on you. Your hand's empty. Well, what have we got here?
Freeze, mister. Right there. Hands up.
Who's gonna phone the sheriff, Earl?
Crying out loud. What would you have done if I hadn't come back?
Well, I was gonna stop him. He just got the drop on me, that's all.
Well, we both made mistakes. Mine was calling him Jones. Here. Good. All right, everybody out the back.
You fellas mind? This man will choke if he stays this way much longer.
It's all right, Richie.
Thanks, mister.
take him back to the hotel, and then get rid of the car. All right. All right, come on. Move. Wait a minute. Go ahead.
They're just finishing loading.
You mean it hasn't left yet?
Take it easy, Tom. Kind of payday we got coming up. A couple extra minutes don't matter. Oh, hey. Here we go. It's rolling.
Got some more guests for you, kid. Ron call yet?
Just now, Earl. It's on its way.
How about that, huh?
I told you it was gonna work like a charm.
You gentlemen figuring me for a daily or a weekly rate?
You give us any trouble, it may be for the rest of a very short life. Inside.
Okay, plenty of seats. You sit over there. And you sit there, mister.
Who's he? Private detective, I heard him say. I'm Curtis. I own this place. Are they doing any damage out there?
Not that I noticed.
How'd you get mixed up in this, mister?
I was looking for you, Gloria.
Me?
Your husband hired me to find you.
Robert?
He wanted you to know that your son and daughter miss you very much.
Somebody's coming, a guy. He's alone.
Richie?
Hi. I was beginning to think this town was one of those abandoned movie sets.
No, they're not making any movies here.
No, that's just a joke. I'm looking for my boss, Barnaby Jones. Supposed to see a waitress that works at the cafe down the street.
Well, Mooney's is closed.
Yeah, I noticed. Thing is, a friend talked to somebody there about an hour ago.
It was open then.
Yeah, well, you might have called in by now. Can I use your phone?
Sure.
Yeah, operator, area code 213. Number is 555-9110. Mm-hmm. Reverse the charges, please.
Say, this Jones fella, he's a tall guy, over 6 feet.
Yeah, that's right. Has he been here?
Well, I noticed a stranger down at Mooney's Cafe about a half an hour ago before he closed. He was talking on the phone. He's trying to locate a Lori or Glory.
Yeah, Gloria Godwin.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then he said he had to go on up to the fair to check something out and got in his car and took off.
Oh, no. Betty, listen.
You make out what's going on?
Half an hour ago. JR, something's not quite right.
What do you mean? What's that?
Well, after you left, I put in another call to Mooney's Cafe, but no one answered. So I had the operator check the line. She said it was out of order. And I called just a few minutes ago. It's still out of order.
You said that Jones made a call from Mooney's Cafe about a half hour ago?
About then, yeah.
Betty, why don't I call you back in a little while, all right? Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Richie.
Something go wrong?
He knows I lied about that phone call. We've got to stop him.
Yeah, you're making a big thing out of nothing.
I don't think so. We got trouble.
Turn around.
What?
I just try to untie my hand.
Oh,
Anybody know what they're up to?
they showed up here a couple of hours ago. Got the drop on those of us not smart enough to go up to the fair and shoved us in here. All very methodical. Like they were working off some sort of plan.
Isn't much to rob in Las Mesas if that's what the scheme is.
I get the impression they're waiting for something.
Son of a gun, I can't get at the knot.
They're coming back. All right, you and you, out. What do you want with us?
Wait a minute.
Just do as you're told.
Hey. Sit down.
I just wanted you to know that your husband hired me to find you, not to force you to come back. I wouldn't do that anyway, even if I could.
Little Kimmy and Bobby Jr., are they all right in their day nursery school?
Well, he has to keep them somewhere while he's working. But I'm sure they'd rather be home with their mother.
Oh, damn.
Hey.
You trying to get smart with you?
No, it's all right.
You don't look too good. You want some water?
Yes, please. I was 17 when I met Robert. Shortly after, I became pregnant, so we got married. First there was Kim, and then Bobby Jr.
Yes, I know. I've met them. They're fine kids.
Don't you understand? I was only 17, stuck with a family.
It doesn't sound like a tragedy to me.
But I never had a chance for anything else. All the things I read in magazines and saw on television. I want that. I want to see what else there is out there. That's why when I went to the market that day, I never stopped. I just kept right on driving.
Let me ask you something. When this is over, you going back?
What?
You asked me, you did right. There's a lot of good living out there for the taking.
Thanks. And I didn't ask you.
Hell, I already patrolled Las Mesas first thing this morning. And I didn't see anything that make anybody think anything was unusual going on, like you say.
Well, it certainly didn't become a ghost town for no reason.
Tell you one thing, if this Barnaby Jones wasn't a friend of the sheriff, you wouldn't be getting me out here on his hunch years. Not with most of the men away working extra duty at the fair. Ghost town, huh?
Well, there was nobody there before.
Hi there, Deputy.
How's it going, Joe? Everything all right?
Sure thing.
Hello, Gordon. What brings you back this way?
Ollie here's looking for a man named Barnaby Jones. He thinks he might have, got himself in some kind of trouble while he's here in Las Mesas.
That so?
Notice anything out of the ordinary going on?
No, can't say I have. It's been pretty quiet here.
Look, I'm not imagining things. This isn't even the guy I talked to before.
Before?
Hi, Deputy. My name's Anderson. I'm the new desk clerk.
Oh, that's right. I just hired Mr. Anderson yesterday.
I was just telling this fellow before that the guy he's looking for has left town.
Yeah, that's right. You said you overheard him trying to make a phone call at the cafe.
Yeah.
Except the phone's been dead. Come on, I'll show you. Now it's open.
Afternoon, Mr. Mooney.
Deputy?
They fixed it.
I see you had some trouble with your phone, Mr. Mooney.
Oh, some fella got mad talking to his girl, ripped it out. Had to close down for a while. Go get Lou Massey and have him come over and splice it together. Sunday, you know. Phone company will fix it proper tomorrow.
I don't know whether you're on something or pulling some kind of fraternity prank or both. But whatever, I'm driving you back to your car right now.
Look, about an hour ago, did a tall guy about 6 foot with gray hair make a call from this phone?
You mean the man asking for Gloria? Yes. Yes, he drove on up to Coverton to talk with her.
Satisfied? Let's go. Come on.
Hope that friend of yours bought it. Otherwise, he's gonna get himself killed.
Think Ron was able to slow up that truck?
Well, if he didn't, it'd be here by now.
Yeah, just think 20 or 25 minutes, and we're gonna have $250,000 just dropped in our lap. How about that? Those people we got inside, they're gonna be able to identify us. You know that.
Money's not enough, huh? You want to solve it with a bunch of killings?
Well, some of us don't like the idea of running off to Europe or Mexico. Some of us like it right here in the good old U.S. of A.
Well, I'll decide what we do.
Let's get him riled up.
Shh. Hey, it's that private eye's friend. Get him, you understand? Give me your rifle.
Truck here yet?
No, don't. Pal is back.
Hey, get back to your chair.
If anything happens to Jedediah, the world won't be big enough for you or those other people to hide in.
Richie! Where is he? He's hiding somewhere in all this. There he is!
All right, stop right there. Earl and me, we've been roustabouts together for years. He's not a killer. And believe me, we don't want anybody to get hurt.
And if I don't stop, you'll shoot me, right? Don't talk to us about not wanting to hurt people. You take people with guns, they're liable to go off. Just what do you think you're into, son? Some schoolboy cops and robbers game?
I hope I'm there when they catch him and the rest. See them all shot down like dogs.
Like a Mustang running wild. You'd think there'd be more good in taming him than in killing him.
Richie! Not a sign of him! We're running out of time, Earl! We'll run out of time a lot quicker if he gets that sheriff.
Gee. Where is he?
Dave, the gauge is right. We are losing water.
Damn. It's 28 miles back to the office. You think you can milk it that far?
Sure. Let's radio ahead and tell them we're going to stop in Las Mesas. Maybe we can fix it at Wiley Station.
Yeah, and pick up some of Mooney's apple pie if I know you.
Hey, Gloria. About 10, 15 minutes. Gonna get my hands on a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money.
Well, I didn't figure you and your friends were here for the community chest.
What I'm trying to say is, I got it on my mind how you were wondering what else is out there. Why don't you come with me and find out?
With you?
Yeah. I mean, why not? My share of the money, we can go a long ways.
Earl! Earl!
Just stay in there.
Where's Earl?
Wasn't he with you?
No, we got split up.
What happened to Jedediah?
Give me your extra gun.
I asked you about Jedediah. Is he all right?
I'm gonna blow holes in you.
All right, now just take it easy. Anyway, I'd like to know myself.
Oh, he suckered me into a bad move and got my gun away from me. For all I know, he could be in San Bernardino by now.
Robbing the Culverton Fair? That how you got them figured, Mr. Jones?
Unless you can think of some other place in this area that has a great deal of cash on a Sunday.
Oh, no.
Hey, I'm thinking the same thing. The armored truck.
What truck?
On Sundays, because the banks are closed, they ship the weekend receipts by truck to their office in San Bernardino.
Thing is, how can they count on a truck coming through Las Mesas? It don't always.
If Al is driving, you can count on him finding a way to stop for some of my apple pie, you bet. Hey, that's Ron Kirkley driving. He used to work for me as a short order cook.
That's probably how they found out the truck driver liked to stop in for your apple pie.
Hey, get away from that window. Sit down! Sit down, all of you!
Why isn't everything ready? I mean, the truck will be here any minute.
There's been a foul up. Earl's off chasing
All
this
right, then
guy.
we'll go without him.
Gotta move on. We gotta get the people into position. Wiley, Mooney, let's go.
I should have known you'd come to no good when I fired you, Ron.
Now, we'll talk over old times later. Mooney, move.
Our old friend Al is driving the truck, and when he gets here, I want you to do us all a little favor.
Like before, Mr. Wiley. Just look busy.
What about it, Glory? Time's running out. You've been thinking about what I said?
Even if you got away with it, you'd be caught in a month.
Maybe. Be one hell of a month.
Oh, Tom.
Could have ruined the motor, Al, driving in with it overheating like this.
Had to take a chance, Mr. Wiley. Didn't have much choice.
Hey, Al? You ain't gonna pass up my famous apple pie, are you?
Not on your life, Mr. Mooney. Dave?
Yeah. Get Larry and me a piece, too.
Be gone in less than a minute, Glory. What do you say?
Son, before you go, how about loosening the lady's rope a little? It is hurting your wrist, isn't it? Isn't it, Gloria?
Yes. It hurts pretty bad.
Hey. I thought I made yours loose enough.
Hold it right there.
Hey, that's not just a seam leak. Those look like bullet holes. Hey, Larry, there's something screwy going on here.
Freeze.
Keep your eye on him.
I'll come around from the other side.
Okay, be careful.
Open up. Make him do it or you're dead.
Larry, do like he says. He's gonna kill me.
You know, on top of everything else, you're a lousy driver. Get your hands up. Get them up.
Thanks, Al. I'll have you sign the typed report. Got ourselves quite a haul, haven't we, JR? Well, be seeing you both in court.
We're about to drive down to Los Angeles. Would you like a ride?
I don't know if going back is going to settle anything.
Did running away?
No.
Then why don't you give it another try? I know a fine young fellow named Robert, 2 beautiful children. He'd like that very much.
So would a girl named Gloria.
The house is beautiful, Andre. Who decorated it?
My wife. She's really quite artistic. In fact, that's why she's in Paris, to pick up a few more paintings.
I'm glad she's away. Otherwise, I'd never get to see where you live.
I wish I could bring her here more often. But then... little something extra. You deserve it.
You're gonna spoil me. Andre, my scarf, I must have left it upstairs.
So glad you remembered. It wouldn't do to have my wife find it now, would it?
You took your sweet time.
Okay, right back.
Here we are.
Thank you. Now I'm sure I've got everything.
Good. Shall we go? Bonne chance, burglars. Modern science is waiting for you.
mister.
Put your hands up, behind your head. You mind if I put this down?
Sure. Thank you very much, officer. I'll get the rest of the details from Lieutenant Biddle.
Morning, Barnaby, JR. You guys left a little early, aren't you?
California Meridian insures the LeClaire Emerald Collection. It's a pretty hefty payoff.
There's no doubt the safe was blown by a real pro. Sloppy part was the homicide.
The officer said it was a private security guard.
2 weeks on the job, green as grass, killed with his own gun.
Isn't it a little odd that security patrol would send one lone man to investigate a silent burglar alarm?
They didn't. The alarm wasn't tripped till a couple of minutes before he was killed.
You got that pinned down pretty close?
Neighbor heard the gunshot.
And what was the LeClaire family doing during all this?
Mr. LeClaire's wife is away on a trip. LeClaire says he went out for a drive around midnight and turned on the alarm system when he left.
Wait a minute. That doesn't figure. How could a burglar get inside, get the safe open, get out the emerald, and be out here where the guard was killed all in 2 minutes?
Offhand, I'd say he couldn't. Maybe Mr. LeClaire wasn't as alone in the house as he thought he was.
Well, that's pretty close to the way we got it figured. Come on, I'll introduce you to LeClaire.
I realize the insurance company stands to lose $500,000, Mr. Jones. But our personal loss is beyond price. Some of those pieces have been in my wife's family for generations. The implication that perhaps the theft was something other than it seems, well, I reasoned that very much.
Nothing personal, Mr. LeClaire. Investigating a theft of this size is a fairly routine matter. A few questions and we'll be out of your hair.
Well, if it's necessary.
Well, first, Lieutenant Biddle told us that you left your house about 20 minutes before the silent alarm was tripped.
Fortunately for me, if the lieutenant is correct, the thief was hiding somewhere in the house all evening.
Any idea how or when he could have gotten in?
There are servants here during the day. Tradesmen come and go. I suppose someone might get in without too much difficulty.
Mr. LeClaire, we understand that you left your house at about midnight. Is that an awfully strange time to go out?
I have recurring insomnia. Sometimes driving for an hour relaxes me. Last night I drove to the beach, and at the time of the murder I was buying gasoline at an all-night service station in Hollywood. The police have already confirmed it.
All right. That's about all for now. We may have to ask your indulgence again if we encounter any new questions.
Well, if you must, you must.
Not in here, dear. You want to see Mrs. Gray. Back through there. First door on the right.
Right, thanks. And what's the first thing I see when I open the morning paper? Hi, I'm Susie Sinclair. I'm supposed to see Mrs. Gray.
Oh, just make yourself comfortable out in the reception office, Susie. I'll be with you in a few minutes.
Okay, just a couple of minutes, okay? Okay, so the first thing I see this morning is that Harry iced some security guard. Well, I mean it. I am shook.
We all are, Felice. Nobody wanted it to happen that way.
I know, but it did, Lorette. It did, and it stinks. Look, I've never been involved in anything this heavy. I never would have gotten involved in this if I'd known something like this was going to happen.
Wishing won't make it so, Donna. You're going to come out involved up to your pretty little neck no matter how you slice it.
Oh, that's terrific, Harry. That's just really beautiful. Well, look, I am not going to stand around here with some murder rap hanging over my head. Now, I'm going to split. to New York or Acapulco or somewhere.
Felice. Let's not start saying rash things now. You're a much brighter girl than that.
I'm just scared. What am I going to do?
Right now, you're going to go home. You're going to take a couple of these, and you're going to get a good night's sleep. And then things will look much better tomorrow.
I don't like it.
All right, then take a couple of days off. And then if you still want to leave, we'll try to work something out. Hey, haven't I always taken good care of my girls?
Yeah. No complaints. About you.
All right, you call me tomorrow. We'll have lunch. Talk things over.
Hey. Hey, now, don't you fall apart on me.
Oh, Harry.
Everything's gonna be just fine. Just fine. I'll get rid of that Susie out there. I'll hang out the do not disturb sign.
Don't you feel anything? The paper said he was a young Vietnam veteran with a family. Oh, God, did you have to kill him?
Oh, what'd you want me to do? Let him take me in? I thought we'd all spend the next few years in the slammer. Look, he was trying to be a hero. His gun went off. He could have wasted me just as easy. Maybe that's the way you would have liked it to come out, huh?
Nobody killed, nobody hurt. That's what I wanted.
Well, I know you had this nice, safe, genteel hustle all figured out. The girls set up the rich Johns. I rip them off. Nobody gets hurt. Oh, no, maybe the insurance companies, right? Yeah, well, it didn't turn out that way this time.
No, it didn't. Felice was right. It stinks. All of it. Everything we've been doing.
Lorette, look. Why don't you let me run the business? I'll take the pressure off you. Well, it's a lot better than what you've been hinting around at. Shutting down the operation completely.
I don't know. I'll think about it. Right now, I've got an appointment at the hairdresser, and then I'm getting out of town for a while.
Where are you going, Santa Barbara, to see Wendy?
None of your business.
Hey, look, I just meant if you're going to see your daughter, I could tag along. It's about time I got to meet her.
No chance, Harry.
Hey, now you and I have had a nice thing going for a long time. I think you ought to introduce me. I mean, after all, she might be my stepdaughter someday.
Just leave Wendy out of it, Harry. She's got nothing to do with my life here. And that includes you especially.
Oh, thank you for letting me know where I stand.
Oh, the emeralds, you better get them fenced out of the country. And stop hassling me on everything. It's getting very tiresome.
One doesn't like to gossip about a good customer and a fellow countryman, Barnaby.
The way I figure, Maurice, when it's $500,000 involved, it's no longer gossip.
Perhaps not. Well, I can tell you, Andre Leclerc is financially sound, thanks to his wife's inheritance, as well as Andre's very nice salary from the shipping company. I believe they recently made him a vice president of the firm.
Well, it certainly doesn't sound like a guy who would fake a robbery just to collect the insurance money for the emeralds.
What about Leclerc's personal life? Anything off color there?
As to that, Barnaby, we are men of the world. If a man seeks a little variety in female companionship, discreetly, of course.
Well, you're talking about a lot of variety, or one or two in particular?
One in particular. I saw them together several times. Not here, no. This is a family restaurant. But there is a rather active bar down the street. I saw them late at night there.
Were you ever introduced to her?
Regrettably not. But I can understand that, Barnaby. She is ravishing.
Well, what is the name of the place? Maybe somebody knows her there.
The Oak Lodge.
Oh, thank you very much, Maurice.
Mr. Barnaby, the smell of the food in here is terrific. I think we could stick around, maybe have an early lunch or something.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The place doesn't open for another hour. Excuse me, please. Another time.
I will see you again.
If you'd eaten a proper breakfast, you wouldn't be hungry now.
Mom! Hi!
Oh, hey, I like it. But why all of a sudden affection? Usually it's, hey, Mom, where's my new formal?
Oh, sure, I'm excited. Who wouldn't be, a foxy lady, you? Well, come on, aren't you going to tell me the good news?
What good news? Honey, really, I don't know what...
Hi. Well, I'm afraid I blew your surprise. I got here an hour ago, and I told Wendy all about our wedding plans.
You told her what?
I knew you wanted to tell her yourself, but I was just so darn anxious to meet my new stepdaughter that well, when I did, I just blurted it out.
Oh, he is so cool, Mom. I'm so happy for all of us. What is it, you're at?
No, I think we're back to Deuce.
All right, I tried to maneuver you. What else could I do the way you treated me?
Just forget it, Harry. There's no way I will ever marry you.
I thought I meant something to you. What am I, chopped liver?
You know, going into business together spoiled things. 6 months ago, I thought you were the most beautiful. Admit it, Harry. Marrying me is one way of getting your hands on the phone exchange, and the rest of it.
That's right, I want the business, and you want out of it. So let me buy it.
Let's settle this later, okay?
Mom? I lost. All those double faults catch up with you.
Yeah, but you're getting a lot better. You are, I can tell. Honey, listen, something has come up, and Harry and I are going to have to go back to Los Angeles now.
We can't have dinner together?
I'm sorry, but I'll make it up to you next Sunday. That's a promise.
Wendy, it was nice meeting you. I'll see you around.
What happened? Were you two having a fight just now?
No, it was just a discussion about business.
Was it something I did? Did I come on too strong about you getting married?
Oh, if anybody came on too strong... Hey, you're not to worry about anything. I'll explain it to you on Sunday. We'll spend the whole day together, all right?
Sure. That'll be nice.
Okay. I love you. Be happy. I've got to run. See you next weekend.
Sure.
Bye, Steph.
Bye-bye.
Where'd everybody go?
Back to L.A. Mom said something came up. Hey, Steph, can I borrow your car tonight?
Oh, I guess. But I thought you just had your learner's permit.
I don't care. I've got to get down to L.A. I think something's really gone wrong for Mom, and I've got to find out what it is.
Well, it certainly didn't take you long to get here.
Betty said to meet you here. What's up?
Well, my waitress friend at the Oak Lodge knows all about LeClaire's girlfriend. Seems that Felice dropped in there all the time, and sometimes with other men.
Is that her name, Felice?
Mm-hmm. Felice Winters. One night, one of her dates got so drunk that they had to send him home in a cab. So she and our little waitress took another cab home, and this is where Felice was dropped off.
Miss Winters?
Yes?
My name's Barnaby Jones. This is my associate, Jedediah Jones. We're a private investigator.
Oh, what are you investigating?
A jewel theft and murder last night at the home of Andre LeClaire.
So what does that have to do with me?
Well, we understand that you and LeClaire were very cozy friends.
I never heard of this guy. LeClaire?
What about Edward McKay, Thomas Martinson, Walter Bennett? All well-to-do men whose homes were burglarized, always while their wives were out of town. So it could be that they invited a call girl to their home, and she, in cooperation with an accomplice, burglarized it.
Look, I don't know what you're talking about, except that somewhere in there you're inferring that I'm a call girl.
Well, if you were involved in the LeClaire robbery last night, you're a lot more than that. You're accessory to murder 1.
Who needs you two anyway? Why don't you just get out of my life, okay?
I think I'll have Betty check that young lady out. I'd like to know more about her.
Hello, Harry. Why don't you sit down and make yourself a drink?
Thanks, I'll do that.
Thought Lorette said I could have a little time off. I was hoping that meant time off from you, too.
The problem is I just got back from Santa Barbara, and I find that a private detective has been at the Oak Lodge asking questions about you and LeClaire.
Well, I've got a real hot flash for you, Harry. I've just been talking to 2 private detectives down by the pool. And I don't mind telling you, they scared the hell out of me.
Oh, what did they want, Felice?
They know about the whole operation. They said murder 1, that I could be an accessory to murder 1. Well, there is no way I'm going to sit still for that.
Oh, no, you figured you'd make a deal. Cop out on Loretta Lee. Especially on me. Right.
That's not what I meant, Harry. I just meant that I would split and go to New York or something. That's all I was talking about. Harry, don't, please.
Lorette's mother-loving kindness routine is only good up to a certain point, kiddo. We're beyond that. You need a good straightening out, a little reminder about just who runs your life for you.
Harry, don't, please. Look, I'll do anything you say. Really, I will. I'll do anything.
Oh, you will, doll. Know it.
Looking for Mrs. Gray?
Yes, I am. Have you seen her?
No, but she should be here in a minute.
Okay, thanks.
Wow, they're really getting them young these days. But I guess that's what they want.
I really don't know what you're talking about.
Listen, you're really lucky to get into a setup like this. You know, I mean, it's tough out on the street, especially for a girl your age. But, you know, the word is that they really take care of their girls here, you know? They check out the clients before they send them out. You know, so you don't end up with some freak out or something. Believe me, I've seen my share of those.
Listen, I'm here to see Mrs. Gray.
Yeah, Mrs. Gray. Listen, I've been hearing about her ever since I've been in the Life. She's the best madam in L.A. Hey, are you tripping out or something? I mean, are you all right? Listen, can I get you something?
I'll be all right. Just leave me alone.
Okay.
Susie, honey, those clothes won't do it all. They're much too obvious.
Oh, you want me to go home and change?
No, there's a little boutique up the block where some of my girls do their shopping. Harry, why don't you just take her there and see what you can find?
Sure, come on down, let's go.
Okay. Oh, that other new girl may be getting sick or something.
Other?
Yeah, she's in there.
Oh, my God, Wendy.
My godmother.
Wait, honey, you don't understand. Baby, I can explain.
Really, gentlemen, was it necessary to come here tonight? Could it not wait until tomorrow at my office?
No, I'm afraid it can't, Mr. LeClaire. You see, we knew all about Felice Winters.
Who? Felice Winters? I don't know what you're talking about.
The way it looks to us, Felice and some of the ladies in her line of work have been setting up wealthy clients for burglary.
This has gone far enough, gentlemen. I must insist you...
We're not just talking about stolen jewels and insurance this time. There's been a murder, and sooner or later it'll all come out.
Was Felice alone long enough to let a burglar in?
Yes. We were on our way out, and she remembered the scarf she'd left in the... upstairs. I went up for it and left her alone at the front door. Plenty of time to let an accomplice in.
Naturally, you didn't turn on the burglar alarm until you left the house.
I've been such an idiot. Can you believe I thought I really meant something to that woman?
Where did you meet Felice? At the Oak Lodge?
Oh, no. I took her there many times. She seemed to know the people there. But I first contacted Felice through a telephone answering service. A man must be recommended by a friend who is one of their customers. Then when they have checked you out and they are satisfied you're not the police, a rendezvous is arranged. If one wishes, you can even pay with a credit card.
A very high-toned operation. Too bad they felt that they had to take on burglary as a sideline.
Hello. Yes, he's right here. Your secretary.
Yes, Betty?
Barnaby, I went to Felice Winters' apartment to check up on her. It seems she had a serious fall from her terrace. Couldn't have happened more than a few minutes after you and JR talked to her.
Is she hurt badly?
A concussion, several broken bones. I'm at the hospital now. She's under sedation. The doctor says she's going to be all right, but he doesn't know when she'll be able to answer questions.
Well, you stay there, Betty, and let me know when she seems to come out of it. Oh, and be careful, Betty. This lady has some friends who play pretty rough.
Not a sign. I had every street contact I've got looking for her last night. She didn't show up Santa Barbara.
No, I just called the school a few minutes ago. They haven't heard a word. Oh, I should have gotten out sooner before this happened.
So she found out. She'll grow up fast. We should get used to the idea.
You really think it's that simple?
Yeah, I do. She's your daughter, and she loves you. She'll forgive you. All she wants is a little time to figure things out. When she does, she'll turn up.
I hope you're right.
I think I am, Loretta. In the meantime, business has to go on.
What's this?
$75,000. I got a local fence to take the LeClaire stuff. It's on a plane to Antwerp right now. He'll refence it over there. It's about half of what we could have gotten, but I...
But it's safe this way. What matters anymore?
Look, that's yours. Now, when your kid decides to come home to mother, you take off with her. Get out of the business like you've been wanting to.
But you've got a share in what's here.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You keep my share. Down payment on the operation. I'll pay you off over the next couple of years out of the profits. Until you're happy that we're square. Look, if you want, I'll even put the deal in some kind of writing.
Maybe that is the best way to work things out.
For rent. All All I want you to do is think about it.
Look, are you sure it's our answering service you want? We aren't having any equipment problems that I know about.
Well, no, you see, the problem is in our switching circuits when you dial out. You see, probably you got bad ratchets in your dialing module.
Well, I don't know, but I wish you'd come back after Mrs. Gray gets here.
Oh, come on, honey, give me a break, will ya? I got 6 more of these after I leave here.
Well, okay. Lorette Service, can I help you? Oh, yes, Alice. He asked for you special. Mm-hmm. Said he met you when he was here for the trade show last fall. Mm-hmm. That's right. Downtown Towers, room 804. That's right there. Lorette Service, thank you.
I think I better check the front office phone off.
Thank you. Just a minute.
Hello, Mr. Robinson. Had your house burgled lately?
Oh. Who are you?
Phone company. You, got a little problem here, but I'll be through in a minute. You know, it's none of my business, but how old are you?
As of last night, I'm going on 100. And you're right. It's none of your business.
Last night, huh? Sounds heavy.
You've got no idea.
Wendy?
Hi there, Mother.
Will you excuse us, please?
Yeah, sure. I'll be finished here in a minute.
No, just leave it that way and go. I hope you know how ridiculous you look in that get-up.
I don't know. It does attract a man's attention.
I can understand you're wanting to hurt me, Wendy, but don't do it by degrading yourself.
Oh, that's marvelous. Look who's giving lectures on degrading yourself.
I suppose there's no way I can make you understand.
Oh, but I do, Mother. For the first time, I understand why I never lived at home. Why you shipped me off from one private school to another. Why you never let me be around this cozy little business establishment of yours.
I sent you to those schools, Wendy. Those very good schools. So you'd have some of the advantages I never had.
And you paid for those very expensive good schools with money that you got from hookers. And maybe for being a hooker yourself. Were you? Well, were you? Okay. So now it's time I started paying you back. Don't cry, Mom. Please.
Oh, I would have done anything to keep you from knowing. Can you forgive me? Can you?
I just hate that it was for me. That you did all this for me.
It wasn't for you. It was for me. Because I wanted money. I needed it. When your father skipped. And this just seemed the easiest way to get it. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. It's over. Okay? It's all over. I'll go someplace new. New and clean. New life. Please.
Okay.
Will you do something for me? Wash all that gunk off your face. Oh, baby.
Hi, is Betty Jones or Barnaby Jones there, please?
Jones? One moment. Miss Jones, telephone.
Then she won't be released right away.
It's just too early to tell until we see more x-rays.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, hello?
Betty, JR, is Barnaby there?
Oh, no, JR. He just went in to see Felice. The doctor says she's coming out of it. Any message?
Yeah. Tell him that I got into the answering service office and I found this client book with some names of burglary victims among a lot of others. Anyway, I've seen enough evidence to involve Lieutenant Biddle. I think it's search warrant time.
All right, JR. I'll call Lieutenant Biddle right now. I'll talk to you later.
You're scared now, Felice, and that's exactly what whoever did this to you wanted to happen. To scare you so that you wouldn't blow the whistle on them.
Yeah, well, it worked.
But don't you see, the only way to be safe, to be really safe, is to put them where they couldn't do this to you again or to anyone else.
I don't know. If I could just get away from here, if I could just go someplace where he couldn't find me.
You have a broken leg. How far can you run on that?
You're a nice man, aren't you? I mean, really nice. You don't meet too many of those in my line of work.
That might tell you something about your line of work, mightn't it?
Harry Brenner. Harry Brenner. He's the one who chased me off that terrace. He's also the one who killed the guard at LeClaire's house.
Any idea where I might find this Mr. Brenner?
He works for Lorette Gray. He's never very far away from where she is. Can you believe it? A nice lady like that.
Do you feel up to describing Brenner for me?
Barnaby, JR. Thought I'd check in.
Jedediah, where are you?
Well, I followed Lorette Gray and her daughter. They left the answering service, drove to a house in West Hollywood. Oh, man, did you hear that? Some jerk in a convertible just went racing by. I thought he was going to take a phone booth with him. You know, I think he's headed to Lorette's place.
Did you get a look at him? The big guy, dark hair?
Yeah, that looked like him. Who is he?
Harry Brenner, the man who killed the security guard. Where are you?
What are you doing here?
You got some explaining to do. The records client was everything I need to keep the business going. Now, where is it?
Gone, just like I'll be as soon as I get packed. Wendy came back this morning.
Well, that's just peachy keen. Lorette, you promised me I could buy you out.
Wrong. I never said I'd sell out. I said I'd think about it, which I did, and it came out no sale.
Even my money's not good enough for you, is that it?
Nobody's money, Harry. The business is not for sale.
Why? Why not?
Because, Harry, I don't want anything left behind that can tie me to what I've been doing for the last too many years. Nothing. I want all the way out, just clean out.
What am I supposed to do, just stand here and watch you pack up and take off?
Well, you should have saved some of the money I've been paying you. Then you could have bought your own stable of girls and gone into business for yourself. Except I don't think it would have worked. You don't have the makings of a real successful pimp, Harry. You're not nice enough.
Barnaby, they're still in there, but it's pretty quiet so far.
I found this in your closet. And fits, too. Hi, Mr. Brenner.
Yeah, you'll be wearing all my things now, baby. Come on, let's get everything packed. Harry, get away from there.
I gave you my share of the LeClaire job, remember? Little down payment on the business.
It's in the envelope there with your name on it. Harry, I'm warning you.
All right, where's the rest of it? In the car, right? Yeah, you wouldn't have had time to get rid of it.
Will you just stop and lose your head for half a minute? You're in no position to go pushing me around. Remember the LeClaire thing? What you left in front of the house?
Oh, I was waiting for that. Well, you just said the magic words, Cookie. Sweet 16, you're coming with me. Come on. Now, before this thing goes off!
All right, listen. Listen, we don't have to do it this way. We can do it your way.
You bet we can, love. Only my way just changed a little bit. I mean, I can't stay here and run the business now, not with you waving a murder rap in my face. Now, Wendy's gonna go with me. And you're gonna clean all your bank accounts out, everything, all your assets, sell them and get me the cash. When you do, maybe then you get your little girl back in one piece.
Harry, please, not Wendy.
Yes, Wendy!
Harry, please! Harry, not Wendy! Harry!
Looks like you really hit the jackpot this time, Barnaby.
I expect you're gonna live, Mr. Brenner.
That's quite a haul. All the records from the prostitution operation. Plus, enough evidence for a strong case in the burglaries.
I think Mrs. Gray will cooperate. I think she was getting sick of what she was doing about the time it all started to fall apart.
They're, sending a matron to take care of you. Since you're still a minor. I guess it's the law or something.
Okay. Whatever.
You'll be all right, baby. I'm just sorry you have to grow up so fast.
it isn't easy, but you've got to try to remember the good things, that she loved you.
Will I ever get to see her?
I'm sure you will. And she's going to need all the love you can give her now, Wendy.
The house was beautiful. Andre Leclerc stood near the wide windows of his elegant living room and looked around with the quiet satisfaction of a man who believed everything in his life had been carefully arranged. The furniture was tasteful. The paintings were expensive. Every object seemed to have its proper place. His guest admired the room. Who decorated it? My wife, Andre replied. She is really quite artistic, in fact. That is why she is in Paris. She wanted to pick up a few more paintings. I am glad she is away. Otherwise, I would never get to see where you lie. Andre smiled. I wish I could bring you here more often. The woman smiled back. But then, a little something extra. You deserve it. You are going to spoil me. For a moment, everything appeared harmless. Then the woman suddenly stopped. Andre, my scarf. I must have left it upstairs. Andre looked toward the staircase. Are you sure? I am. I am glad you remembered. He gave her a knowing smile. It would not do to have my wife find it, now would it? The woman disappeared upstairs. Andre waited. When she returned, he opened the door. You took your sweet time. Here we are. Thank you. She checked her handbag. Now I am sure I have everything. Good. Shall we go? The door closed behind them. Neither of them noticed the shadow that seemed to remain inside the house. Outside, the neighborhood was quiet. The streets were almost empty. And somewhere nearby, a security patrol officer was beginning what should have been an ordinary night. It would not be an ordinary night. Later, when investigators reconstructed the sequence of events, the timing would become one of the most important details of the entire case. A silent alarm had been triggered. A security officer had arrived. And within minutes, the quiet house had become the center of a mystery involving valuable jewels, secret relationships, deception, and a private operation that had been hidden behind respectable walls for years. The first officer on the scene had been young and inexperienced. He had only been working for the security company for 2 weeks. He never had the opportunity to complete the routine assignment. His own weapon was found at the scene. The police quickly realized that they were not dealing with an ordinary burglar. By morning, the Leclerc Emerald collection was the subject of every conversation in the investigation. California Meridian insured the collection for a considerable amount of money. The jewels themselves were valuable, but the circumstances surrounding their disappearance were even more valuable to Barnaby Jones. Barnaby listened carefully as Lieutenant Biddle explained the situation. California Meridian insures the Leclerc Emerald collection, Biddle said. The potential loss is close to $500,000. Barnaby remained thoughtful. There is no doubt the safe was opened by someone who knew what he was doing. Biddle nodded. The careless part came afterward. Barnaby understood what he meant. The burglary itself appeared professional. The rest of the story did not. The most obvious question was the security alarm. Was it a private security alarm? Yes. How long had the guard been working? 2 weeks. Barnaby frowned. And he was alone? That is what makes the situation unusual. Barnaby leaned back. Why would a security company send one inexperienced man to investigate a silent burglar alarm? They did not. Barnaby looked at him. What do you mean? The alarm was not triggered until only a couple of minutes before the guard arrived. Barnaby considered the information. A couple of minutes? That is what we have established. And the neighbor heard the gunshot? Correct. Barnaby glanced toward the notes in front of him. Then let us look at the timing. He began reconstructing the night. Andre Leclerc had left his house around midnight. His wife was away in Paris. Andre claimed he had gone out for a drive. He had turned on the alarm system before leaving. The question was, what happened afterward? Barnaby looked up. That does not make sense. Biddle waited. How could someone get inside the house, open the safe, remove the emeralds, leave the house, and then reach the location where the guard was found, all within approximately 2 minutes? Biddle said nothing. Barnaby continued. Offhand, I would say he could not. That changed the direction of the investigation. Perhaps the thief had not entered the house after Andre left. Perhaps someone had already been inside. And perhaps Andre Leclerc had not been as alone in the house as he believed. Barnaby and his associate J.R. went to speak with Andre. Andre received them politely. I realize the insurance company stands to lose a great deal of money, Mr. Jones, he said. But our personal loss is beyond price. Some of those pieces have been in my wife's family for generations. Barnaby studied him. There is nothing personal about our questions, Mr. Leclerc. I understand. We are simply trying to establish exactly what happened. Of course. Barnaby opened his notebook. Lieutenant Biddle tells us that you left your house about 20 minutes before the silent alarm was triggered. That is correct. Fortunately for you. Andre raised an eyebrow. I am not sure I understand. If the lieutenant is correct, then whoever entered the safe must have been hiding somewhere in the house. Andre thought for a moment. Any idea how or when someone could have entered? There are servants here during the day. Tradesmen come and go. Someone could have entered without attracting much attention. Barnaby nodded. Now, Mr. Leclerc, we understand that you left your house at about midnight. Is that not an unusual time to go out? Andre hesitated. I suffer from recurring insomnia. Barnaby said nothing. Sometimes driving for an hour helps me relax. And where did you drive? To the beach. And at the time of the incident? I was buying gasoline at an all-night service station in Hollywood. The police confirmed that? Yes. All right. That is all for now. Barnaby closed his notebook. We may need to ask you some additional questions later. Andre gave him a polite smile. If necessary. Barnaby and J.R. left the room. Outside, Barnaby looked towards his associate. There is something about this house that bothers me. J.R. smiled. That usually means we are about to have a busy week. Barnaby returned the smile. I am afraid so. The investigation soon led them away from the elegant house and toward a completely different world. There was a private answering service. There were wealthy men. There were women who arranged discreet meetings. And there was a system that depended on secrecy. A young woman named Susie Sinclair arrived at the office of Mrs. Gray. She waited in the reception area. Inside, several women were discussing what had happened. The mood was tense. One of them, Felice, could hardly contain her fear. The first thing I see when I open the morning paper is that Harry killed some security guard. The others became silent. I am serious, Felice continued. I am completely shaken. We all are, another woman answered. Nobody wanted it to happen that way, but it did. Felice lowered her voice. And it is terrible. She had never imagined that the business would become something so dangerous. I would never have gotten involved if I had known something like this was going to happen. Harry Brenner watched her carefully. You are already involved. Felice stared at him. That is wonderful, Harry. Harry tried to calm her. Do not start saying things you will regret. I am scared. What am I supposed to do? Go home. Felice looked uncertain. Take a couple of days off. Get some sleep. Tomorrow will look different. She did not seem convinced. Harry smiled reassuringly. Have I not always taken care of my girl? Felice looked away. There have been no complaints about you. Then call me tomorrow. We will have lunch and talk. He tried to make everything sound normal, but nothing was normal anymore. Felice finally said what had been troubling her. The newspaper said the guard was a young veteran with a family. Harry became quiet. Did you have to let it happen? What did you want me to do? You could have stopped. Harry shook his head. He was trying to be a hero. Felice stared at him. He could have ruined everything. That is not the point. It is exactly the point. She was beginning to understand that the rules she had once believed protected her were gone. The operation had originally seemed simple. The women found wealthy clients. The men believed they were arranging private companionship. The clients were then robbed. No one was supposed to be seriously harmed. That had been the arrangement. But the plan had changed. And once the line had been crossed, there was no easy way back. Felice was not the only woman beginning to question everything. Lorette Gray had also reached a turning point. For years she had managed the operation. She had built it carefully. She had protected the women working for her, and she had always believed she could control the people around her. Harry wanted more. He wanted control of the business. He wanted Lorette to sell. He believed marriage might be another way of getting what he wanted, but Lorette was beginning to see him differently. Their relationship had changed after they went into business together. Once affection became mixed with money, trust became difficult. Harry insisted that marriage would solve everything. Lorette did not believe him. She knew what he really wanted: the business, the money, the power, and now she wanted out. Far away from Los Angeles, Lorette had another concern: her daughter, Wendy. Wendy knew very little about her mother's real life. Lorette had deliberately kept her away. She had sent Wendy to expensive private school. She had tried to give her daughter opportunities that she herself had never had. But secrets have a habit of surviving longer than people expect. When Harry went to Santa Barbara, he decided that Wendy should finally know about the relationship. Lorette had not wanted that. Harry did it anyway. Wendy was excited when she saw her mother. She had no idea that the happiness of the moment would soon disappear. Harry told her about the wedding plan. Wendy was delighted. She congratulated her mother. For a brief moment, everything looked almost ordinary, but Lorette knew better. She and Harry argued about the business. Wendy noticed. She asked what had happened. Her mother tried to reassure her. It is only a discussion about business. Wendy wanted to believe her. Lorette promised to spend the following Sunday with her. She promised they would talk. She promised everything would be fine. Then she left. Wendy watched the car disappear. Something was wrong. She could feel it. She borrowed a car and decided to go to Los Angeles. She was not going to wait until Sunday. Meanwhile, Barnaby had begun investigating Andre Leclerc's private life. The jewels were only part of the story. Barnaby needed to know whether Andre had a reason to fake the robbery. That led him to Maurice, a man who knew the wealthy social circle surrounding the Leclerc family. Maurice was reluctant to gossip. Barnaby understood. Normally, I would agree with you, Barnaby said, but $500,000 makes this more than gossip. Maurice finally admitted that Andre was financially secure. His wife's inheritance had given the family considerable wealth. Andre himself had an excellent salary from the shipping company. He had recently been promoted to vice president. Barnaby listened. So he does not appear to need the insurance money. Not at all. What about his personal life? Maurice smiled. We are men of the world. Barnaby raised an eyebrow. What does that mean? A man may occasionally seek variety in female companionship. Occasionally? One particular woman. Who? Maurice described her. He had seen Andre with her several times. Barnaby asked whether she had been introduced. Unfortunately, no. What is her name? Felice Winters. Barnaby wrote it down. Where did they meet? Maurice mentioned the Oak Lodge. Barnaby thanked him. A simple name had suddenly become important. Felice Winters. The woman who claimed she had never heard of Andre Leclerc. The woman who appeared to have a relationship with him. And the woman who had been inside his house shortly before the robbery. Barnaby and J.R. went to find her. Their first meeting did not go well. Felice denied knowing Andre. Barnaby listed other wealthy men whose homes had been burglarized under remarkably similar circumstances. Their wives had been away. A woman had been present. The house had later been robbed. Barnaby explained the theory. Perhaps the women were selecting wealthy clients. Perhaps an accomplice was following them. Perhaps the romantic meetings were part of a carefully designed scheme. Felice was angry. She rejected the accusation. Barnaby remained calm. If you were involved in the Leclerc robbery, you are involved in something much more serious than a theft. Felice walked away. But Barnaby noticed something. Fear. Not merely anger. Fear. Later, Betty Jones investigated Felice's apartment. She discovered evidence suggesting that someone had recently been there. Then the telephone rang. Betty answered. Barnaby heard the news. Felice had fallen from her terror. The accident had occurred only minutes after Barnaby and J.R. had spoken with her. She had suffered serious injuries. She was under sedation. The doctors believed she would survive, but she could not yet answer questions. Barnaby immediately became concerned. This was no longer simply an investigation into stolen jewel. Someone was frightened. And frightened people sometimes made desperate decisions. Barnaby told Betty to remain at the hospital. He warned her to be careful. Felice had dangerous associates. Meanwhile, Lorette was dealing with a crisis of her own. Wendy had not returned to school. Lorette feared that her daughter had discovered the truth. She had spent years trying to protect Wendy. Now that protection had collapsed. She blamed herself. Harry tried to reassure her. She is your daughter. She loves you. Lorette did not know whether to believe him. She will need time, Harry said. Lorette hoped he was right. But Harry had already begun thinking about the future. The stolen emeralds had to be moved. He arranged to sell them through a local fence. The amount he received would be less than the full value, but it was safer. He gave Lorette her share. Then he made an unexpected offer. He told her to keep his share as a down payment on the business. He promised to pay her over time. Lorette listened. For the first time, Harry appeared to be offering her a way out. But Lorette was not convinced. She wanted something more important than money. She wanted freedom. She wanted to close the operation. She wanted to leave everything behind. Then Wendy returned. She found her mother. And the truth finally came out. Wendy discovered the business. She discovered what her mother had been doing. She discovered why she had spent so much of her childhood away from home. She had always wondered why Lorette had sent her from one private school to another. Now she understood. Her mother had wanted her to have opportunity, but the money had come from a world Wendy could hardly recognize. Wendy was devastated. Lorette broke down. She had wanted to protect her daughter from exactly this moment. She had wanted Wendy to believe that her mother was simply a woman who worked hard and provided for her. Instead, Wendy discovered the truth all at once. She asked the question that Lorette had feared for years. Had she done it for Wendy? Lorette answered honestly. No, she had done it because she needed money. When Wendy's father left, Lorette had been desperate. The business had seemed like the easiest solution. She had convinced herself that she could control it. She had convinced herself that the people involved would never go too far. She had been wrong. Wendy began to cry. Lorette apologized. She asked her daughter for forgiveness. Wendy did not forgive her immediately, but she understood one thing. Her mother had loved her. That love did not erase the mistake, but it explained why Lorette had tried so hard to give Wendy a different life. The two women embraced. For the first time in years, the distance between them began to disappear. Lorette promised to leave the business. She promised to start again. Wendy asked her to wash away the appearance she had created. Lorette agreed. It was a small gesture, but it represented something much larger, a new beginning. At the same time, the investigation was closing in. J.R. entered the answering service office. He found a client book. Inside were names. Many of the names belonged to wealthy men whose homes had later been burglarized. The pattern was too clear to ignore. J.R. contacted Barnaby. We have enough to involve Lieutenant Biddle. Barnaby agreed. A search warrant was obtained. The operation was finally beginning to unravel. Then Felice regained consciousness. Barnaby visited her. She was frightened. She believed the people responsible might find her. Barnaby told her that the only way to be safe was to cooperate. Felice hesitated. She wanted to disappear. She wanted to go somewhere Harry could not find her. Barnaby pointed out the obvious. With a broken leg, how far can you run? For the first time, Felice smiled. She realized that Barnaby was not judging her. He was simply trying to help. She finally gave him the name, Harry Brenner. She identified him as the man who had frightened her at the terrace. Then she gave Barnaby another piece of information. Harry worked for Lorette Gray. He was rarely far from her. The pieces were finally coming together. J.R. had followed Lorette and Wendy. They drove to a house in West Hollywood. Then J.R. saw a man approaching. A large man. Dark hair. Fast. He recognized him. Harry Brenner. The man connected to the robbery. The man connected to Felice. The man who now appeared to be heading toward Lorette. Barnaby immediately understood the danger. Harry had realized the operation was collapsed. He wanted the records. He wanted the money. And most of all, he wanted control. When Barnaby and J.R. arrived, Lorette was still inside. Harry confronted her. He demanded the client records. Lorette told him they were gone. She had decided to leave. Wendy had returned. She wanted a different life. Lorette wanted the same. Harry refused to accept it. He reminded Lorette of his supposed agreement to buy the business. Lorette corrected him. She had never promised to sell. She had promised only to think about it. She had thought about it. Her answer was no. The business was not for sale. Harry demanded an explanation. Lorette gave him one. She did not want anything remaining that could connect her to the past. She wanted to leave completely. Harry became increasingly desperate. He could not imagine his future without the business. Lorette understood something he did not. The business was already finished. The people who had built it no longer trusted one another. The women were frightened. The police were investigating. The evidence was accumulating. And the daughter Lorette had tried to protect had finally learned the truth. Harry's position was collapsing. He blamed everyone except himself. Then he made one final attempt to take control. He confronted Lorette. The situation became dangerous. But Barnaby and the police were already close. Harry's options were disappearing. The records were recovered. The stolen jewels were traced. The evidence connected the operation to a series of burglaries, and the investigation revealed how the answering service had been used to screen wealthy clients. Men would call. Their information would be checked. Their identity would be confirmed. Meetings would be arranged. The operation depended on discretion. It also depended on trust. Once that trust disappeared, the entire structure collapsed. Lorette finally admitted that she wanted out. She was tired. She had spent years convincing herself that she could protect everyone. She could not. But she could still make one decision. She could stop. She could cooperate. She could accept responsibility. And she could try to repair the relationship with Wendy. The police recovered enough evidence to build a strong case. The records from the operation became central to the investigation. They showed the pattern. They showed the connections. They showed how carefully the scheme had been organized. The jewel theft was no longer an isolated mystery. It was part of a much larger operation. Barnaby looked at the evidence and understood the final shape of the case. The elegant house, the expensive jewels, the secret meetings, the answering service, the wealthy clients, the frightened women, the broken trust. Everything had been connected. But for Wendy, the most important part of the story was not the jewel. It was her mother. Wendy had been forced to grow up quickly. She had discovered a side of her mother's life that she never wanted to know. Yet she had also discovered something else. Her mother had loved her. Not perfectly, not always wisely, but genuinely. That did not erase the past. It simply gave them a reason to build something better. Barnaby spoke with Wendy quietly. "You will be all right." Wendy looked at him. "Will I ever see her?" "I am sure you will." He paused. "She is going to need all the love you can give her now." Wendy nodded. She was still young. She was still hurt. But she was no longer running from the truth. She was beginning to understand that growing up did not mean pretending everything had been perfect. Sometimes it meant accepting what had happened and deciding what would happen next. For Lorette, the next chapter would be difficult. She would have to answer for the choices she had made. She would have to face the consequences. But she would also have an opportunity to change. For Wendy, the future remained uncertain. But uncertainty was not the same thing as hopelessness. There would be conversations. There would be apologies. There would be difficult days. And perhaps, eventually, there would be forgiveness. The case that began with a jewel collection and a silent alarm had revealed something far more complicated. People had made mistakes. Some had made terrible choices. Some had been frightened into silence. Some had believed money could solve every problem. But money had not solved anything. The jewels had not brought happiness. The business had not created security. The secrets had not protected the people they were meant to protect. In the end, the most valuable thing any of them could recover was not hidden inside a safe. It was trust. Lorette had spent years believing that providing a comfortable life for Wendy would be enough. Now she understood that a comfortable life was not the same as a good life. Wendy did not need expensive schools or a carefully protected childhood. She needed honesty. She needed her mother. And Lorette finally understood that the best thing she could give her daughter was not another promise. It was a new beginning. Barnaby left the investigation knowing that justice would take its course. J.R. followed him. The case was essentially solved. The operation had been exposed. The evidence was secure. The people responsible would have to answer for what they had done. But there was still one thought that remained with Barnaby. A person could spend years building a life around money, appearances, and secrecy. Then one day, everything could change because someone simply asked the right question. Who was really inside the house? Who could have entered? Who had something to gain? And who was telling the truth? The answers had been hidden behind beautiful walls, behind expensive paintings, behind elegant conversations, behind a business that looked ordinary from the outside. Yet the truth had been there all along. It only needed someone patient enough to look. For Wendy, the future began with a simple decision. She would not allow the mistakes of the past to determine the rest of her life. For Lorette, the decision was harder. She had to accept that love could not justify every choice, but love could become the reason to make better choices from that moment forward. And perhaps that was the most important lesson of the entire story. A person cannot always change what has already happened, but a person can change what happens next. The house on the hill would eventually become quiet again. The paintings would remain on the wall. The rooms would look beautiful. The furniture would still be carefully arranged, but the illusion of perfection was gone. And maybe that was not entirely a bad thing, because beneath the polished surface, a family had finally begun telling the truth. A mother and daughter had begun finding their way back to one another. A dangerous operation had been exposed, and a man who believed money and fear could control everyone had finally lost the power he thought he possessed. The emeralds had been valuable. The money had been valuable. The secrets had been valuable. But none of them mattered as much as the chance to start again. Wendy would remember the pain. She would also remember the embrace. She would remember the moment her mother finally stopped pretending. And perhaps, years later, that would be the memory that mattered most. Not the jewels, not the investigation, not the fear, but the moment when two people who had spent years separated by secrets finally stood together and decided that the future could be different. The story had begun with a beautiful house. It ended with something much more difficult to build, a family trying to become honest with one another. And sometimes that is where a real new beginning starts. The following morning, the city seemed strangely ordinary. Cars moved through the streets. People hurried toward offices. Cafes opened their doors. Newspapers were delivered to homes and businesses. For most people, the previous night's events were nothing more than another story in the morning paper. For the people involved, however, nothing was ordinary anymore. At the hospital, Felice Winters remained under observation. Her injuries were serious enough to keep her there for some time, but the doctors were encouraged by her progress. She had survived the fall. More importantly, she had survived long enough to tell the truth. Barnaby sat beside her for a while. Felice looked toward the window. I keep thinking about how different everything might have been. Barnaby did not answer immediately. That is natural. I thought I was clever. You were trying to survive. I thought I could control things. Barnaby looked at her. Most people think that at some point. Felice smiled faintly. Do you always talk like that? Only when someone is in a hospital bed. That brought a small laugh from her. It was the first genuine laugh she had managed since the night everything changed. Felice closed her eyes. I want to tell you everything. Barnaby nodded. When you are ready. I am ready now. She began slowly. The operation had not started as something violent. That was what made it difficult for her to understand how far it had gone. At first, the women were simply introduced to wealthy men. The men believed they were meeting someone attractive and discreet. They were not expecting anything unusual. The women were instructed to learn about their client, where they lived, whether their wives were away, what valuables might be in the house, how long the man might be away from home. The information was passed along. Someone else handled the rest. Felice had convinced herself that the victims could afford the loss. That was how she had justified it. The men were wealthy. The insurance companies would pay. Nobody would be seriously harmed. That was the story she had told herself. Then came the LeClaire house. Everything went wrong. The security officer appeared. The situation changed. Fear replaced confidence. And Harry Brenner made a decision that could never be undone. Felice looked at Barnaby. I should have walked away before that. Why did you not? She took a long breath. Because every time I thought about leaving, someone reminded me what I had to lose. Barnaby understood. Fear could be more powerful than money. You are not responsible for every choice Harry made. Felice looked down. But I was part of the operation. That is something you will have to answer for. She nodded. I know. Barnaby did not offer her an easy excuse. He offered something more useful. A chance to tell the truth. By telling the truth, Felice could help prevent the same thing from happening again. She began naming people. Names, addresses, telephone numbers, places where meetings had been arranged. The information filled several pages. Barnaby listened carefully. Every detail helped complete the picture. The operation had been much larger than anyone initially suspected. There were clients who had never been robbed. There were others who had. There were women who had participated willingly. There were others who had become trapped. And there were people who had remained close to the operation while pretending they knew nothing. The deeper Barnaby looked, the more complicated the situation became. At the police station, Lieutenant Biddle reviewed the evidence. The client records were particularly important. They showed a consistent pattern. The same names appeared repeatedly, the same addresses, the same type of circumstances. A wealthy man, a temporary absence of his wife, a private meeting, a robbery afterward. The method had been remarkably effective until the night it failed. Biddle placed the records on his desk. We have enough to move forward. Barnaby nodded. Felice is cooperating. That should help. She is frightened. She has reason to be. Barnaby looked at the evidence. She also knows that the only way to make sure this ends is to tell the truth. Biddle agreed. What about Lorette Gray? She is ready to cooperate. That could be even more important. Lorette knew how the organization worked. She knew the names. She knew the procedures. She knew the people who arranged the meeting. She also knew Harry. That made her testimony particularly valuable. But Lorette was not thinking about the investigation. She was thinking about Wendy. At the house in West Hollywood, Lorette sat quietly. For years she had been comfortable giving orders. Now she found herself unsure what to say. Wendy entered the room. Neither spoke at first. Finally, Wendy sat beside her. Mom. Lorette looked at her. Yes, I am still angry. I know. I do not know how long that will last. I understand. Wendy looked at the floor. But I do not want to lose you. Lorette's eyes filled with tears. You will not. I cannot promise everything will be okay. You do not have to. I need you to promise me one thing. Anything. No more secrets. Lorette nodded. No more secrets. Wendy leaned against her. For several minutes they remained silent. It was not a perfect reconciliation. It was not a magical solution. But it was honest. And honesty was something they had not shared enough of. Later, Lorette met with Barnaby. She admitted that she had spent years protecting Wendy from the truth. I thought if she never knew, she would never be hurt. Barnaby listened. Sometimes protecting someone from the truth only means they discover it later under worse circumstances. I know that now. What are you going to do? Lorette thought about the question. Start over. Where? I do not know yet. Perhaps that is not the most important question. She looked at him. What is? What kind of person do you want to be when you start? Lorette remained silent. It was a simple question, but she had never asked herself that. She had spent years asking how to make money, how to protect her business, how to keep people quiet, how to keep Wendy comfortable. She had never asked what kind of person she wanted to become. Finally, she answered, someone my daughter can trust. Barnaby nodded. That sounds like a good place to start. Across town, Harry Brenner was no longer in control. The man who had once walked into rooms believing everyone would listen to him had discovered that fear could not protect a person forever. His arrogance had created enemies, his impatience had created evidence, and his determination to hold onto the business had eventually destroyed the very operation he had wanted to control. The investigation also exposed the false confidence that had surrounded the jewel theft. The LeClaire house had seemed almost impossible to enter unnoticed. The safe had been opened professionally. The security system had appeared to work. The owner had an alibi. The missing jewels were insured. Everything seemed designed to suggest an ordinary burglary, but the timing destroyed that explanation. Barnaby returned to the house with J.R. He stood near the front entrance. This is where Felice entered. J.R. looked around. And this is where she supposedly remembered her scarf. Barnaby nodded. She had a reason to go upstairs, and Andre left her alone. Exactly. J.R. thought about it. So the whole thing depended on a very small amount of time. A small amount of time can be enough. Barnaby walked toward the staircase. Felice did not have to steal anything herself. She only had to create an opportunity. Correct. And someone else handled the rest. Barnaby nodded. The brilliance of the scheme had been its simplicity. The women were not presented as criminals. They were presented as companions. They were invited into private homes. Their presence explained why they were there. Their departure created no immediate suspicion. By the time the homeowner discovered something was missing, the woman was already gone. The operation depended on the victims being embarrassed. That embarrassment discouraged them from immediately telling the whole truth. The criminals had counted on silence, but silence had limits. Eventually, someone had talked, and once one person talked, others followed. J.R. looked toward Barnaby. You know what surprises me? What? How long they managed to keep it going. Barnaby smiled. People often assume that complicated schemes require complicated people, and they do not? Not necessarily. Then what do they require? People who believe nobody is paying attention. J.R. nodded. That makes sense. Barnaby looked at the empty hallway. The problem with secrecy is that it creates a trail. A trail? Every secret requires another secret to protect it. He continued walking. Eventually, there are so many secrets that somebody makes a mistake, and Harry had made mistakes. Several. The first had been assuming that the security guard would not matter. The second had been believing Felice would remain silent. The third had been underestimating Loretta. The fourth had been failing to recognize how much Wendy's arrival had changed everything. And the final mistake had been believing that he could still control everyone. At the police station, Biddle received confirmation that additional evidence had been secured. The stolen jewelry had been recovered. The records had been seized. Witness statements had been collected. Felice had identified Harry. Lorette had agreed to cooperate. Andre Leclerc had provided information about his relationship with Felice. Even the original timeline of the burglary was becoming clear. Barnaby reviewed the chronology once more. Andre and Felice had been together at the house. Felice had gone upstairs. Andre had left her alone. She had returned. They had departed. The alarm had been activated. The security guard had arrived. The thief had escaped. The guard had been killed. Then the investigation began. The crucial point was that the burglar could not have completed everything after the alarm was activated. Someone had already been inside. That single observation had opened the door to the entire case. Barnaby looked at Biddle. Sometimes the smallest detail is the one that matters. Biddle smiled. That is why I keep you around. Barnaby laughed. I thought it was because I make excellent coffee. You do not. I was hoping you had forgotten that. I have not. For the first time in days, the atmosphere in the room became light. The case had been dark. The consequences had been serious, but there was no reason for every moment to remain heavy. People needed to breathe. People needed to remember that life continued beyond the investigation. At the hospital, Felice was beginning the long process of recovery. The doctors told her that rehabilitation would take time. She accepted that. She had learned something about time. For years, she had believed that everything could be handled quickly. Money could solve problems quickly. A phone call could arrange a meeting quickly. A lie could end an uncomfortable conversation quickly. Now she understood that some things could not be rushed. Trust had to be rebuilt slowly. A life had to be rebuilt slowly. She would have to accept responsibility. She would have to make better decisions, and she would have to live with the memory of the young security officer whose life had been lost because a scheme that was supposed to remain controlled had spiraled beyond control. That memory would remain with her. It would be painful, but perhaps it could also become a reason to change. At the same time, Wendy began making plans for her future. She returned to her studies. She continued practicing tennis. She tried to reclaim ordinary parts of her life. One afternoon, she spoke with Barnaby. "I used to think adults knew everything." Barnaby smiled. "That is a dangerous belief." "Why?" "Because adults are often just older people trying to figure things out." Wendy laughed. "That is not very comforting." "It was not intended to be." She smiled again. Then her expression became serious. "I think I understand my mother better now." "That is good." "I still do not agree with what she did." "You do not have to." "But I think I understand why she did it." Barnaby nodded. "Understanding someone does not mean approving of everything they have done." "I know. And forgiveness is something you decide for yourself." Wendy looked toward the window. "I think I am going to try." Barnaby smiled. "That is enough." The case eventually moved toward its legal conclusion. The evidence was presented. Statements were taken. The people involved were required to answer for their decision. Lorette accepted responsibility for her role. She did not try to pretend that everything had been someone else's fault. She explained how the operation had developed. She explained how the women had been recruited. She explained how the wealthy clients had been selected. She explained how the answering service had been used. She explained how fear had slowly become part of the system. Her honesty did not erase her responsibility, but it helped investigators understand the entire structure. Felice's testimony was equally important. She confirmed the method. She described the people involved. She explained how Harry had reacted when the security guard appeared, and she identified him as the person responsible for turning a criminal scheme into something far more serious. The case against Harry became stronger with every statement. He had tried to maintain control through intimidation, but intimidation could not erase evidence. It could not erase witnesses. It could not erase records. And it could not erase the truth. Eventually, the operation was finished. The answering service was closed. The women involved were separated from the people who had controlled them. The client records became evidence. The jewel collection was recovered. And the investigation into the security officer's death was brought to its final stage. For Lorette, the most difficult part remained. She had to face Wendy. She had to accept that her daughter might never look at her exactly as she had before. That was the price of honesty. But there was also a reward. Wendy was still there. They could talk. They could argue. They could laugh. They could slowly rebuild their relationship. Lorette had once believed that keeping Wendy away from her life was an act of love. Now she understood that love also required courage. The courage to tell the truth. The courage to admit mistakes. The courage to accept consequences. And the courage to let someone decide whether they could forgive you. One evening, mother and daughter sat together. Wendy looked at her. "Do you remember when I was little?" "Of course. You used to tell me that everything would work out." Lorette smiled sadly. "I remember. You were usually wrong." Lorette laughed. "I suppose I was. But you kept saying it. I wanted you to feel safe." "I know." Wendy reached for her hand. "I think maybe everything does not always work out the way we expect." "No, but sometimes it works out differently." Lorette squeezed her hand. "That may be even better." Neither of them knew exactly what the future would bring, but they were no longer trying to control it with secrets. They would face it together. And that was enough. Barnaby Jones eventually closed his case note. There were still details to complete. There were reports to file. There were conversations with prosecutors and investigators. But the central mystery had been solved. A seemingly impossible burglary had been explained by a carefully constructed opportunity. The suspicious timing had revealed the truth. The relationship between Andre and Felice had exposed a hidden connection. The answering service had revealed a pattern, and the people involved had finally begun telling the truth. The lesson was not that people were incapable of change. It was the opposite. People could make terrible choices. They could become trapped in lives they had created. They could hurt themselves and others, but they could also stop. They could tell the truth. They could accept responsibility. And they could choose something different. Wendy had learned that lesson sooner than she should have. She had been forced to grow up quickly, but she had also discovered something important. Her mother's mistakes did not have to become her own. She could choose a different path. She could build her future on honesty. She could decide what kind of person she wanted to become. And she could remember the people who had helped her along the way. For Lorette, the road ahead would be difficult. For Felice, recovery would take time. For the families affected by the crimes, the consequences would never simply disappear. And for those who had lost someone because of the operation, there could never be a perfect end. But the investigation had at least prevented the cycle from continuing. The truth had stopped it. The final image was not one of wealth or jewel. It was a mother and daughter walking together. They did not know exactly where they were going. They did not have every answer. But for once, they were not hiding anything from one another. And sometimes, after years of complicated mistakes, that simple honesty is the most valuable thing a person can find. The emeralds could be recovered. The money could be counted. The records could be filed. The evidence could be presented. But trust had to be earned again. Lorette knew that. Wendy knew that. And Barnaby Jones knew it too. As he drove away from the case, Barnaby thought about the strange path the investigation had taken. It had started with a silent alarm. It had led to a beautiful house, then to a missing collection of emeralds, then to a murdered security officer, then to a secret relationship, then to an answering service, then to a hidden criminal operation, and finally to a family confronting the truth. It was a reminder that investigations were rarely only about the obvious crime. Behind every locked door was a story. Behind every story were people. And behind every person were choices. Some choices could not be undone. Others could. The important thing was recognizing the difference. The city continued moving around him. The traffic became heavier. The afternoon sun stretched across the building. People went about their business. Somewhere, a telephone rang. Somewhere else, a door opened. Life continued. And for those who had survived the ordeal, continuing was exactly what they needed to do. Not forgetting, not pretending, but moving forward. For Wendy, that meant returning to the life she had imagined before the secrets were exposed. For Lorette, it meant building a life she could finally speak about without shame. For Felice, it meant accepting the consequences and making the difficult choice to change. And for Barnaby, it meant returning to work. There would always be another mystery, another locked door, another unanswered question, another person who believed that a carefully constructed secret could remain hidden forever. But secrets have a way of revealing themselves, sometimes through a mistake, sometimes through a frightened witness, sometimes through a single question, and sometimes through a daughter who simply wants to know why her mother never let her come home. The case of the stolen emeralds was over, but the people left behind still had lives to rebuild, and perhaps that was the most meaningful ending of all. Not a perfect ending, not an easy ending, just a beginning. A mother learning to tell the truth, a daughter learning that forgiveness does not require forgetting, a woman learning that fear does not have to control her future, and a detective reminding everyone that even when a life becomes tangled in mistakes, there can still be a way back. The beautiful house remained standing. The paintings remained on the wall. The rooms were once again quiet. But the silence was different now. It was no longer the silence of secrets. It was simply the silence of a house waiting for the next chapter. And somewhere beyond those walls, people were beginning to write that chapter for themselves. This time they would write it honestly. This time they would choose carefully. And this time they would understand that the greatest treasure was never hidden inside a safe. It was the chance to become better than the person they had been yesterday. That chance was still there. And for Wendy and Lorette, it was finally there. The days that followed were quieter, but quiet did not mean easy. For Lorette, every morning began with the same realization. The life she had built was gone. The office was closed. The answering service was no longer operating. The women who had once depended on her had gone their separate ways. The telephone numbers that had once brought money into her hands now meant nothing. She had spent years believing that the hardest part of leaving would be giving up the money. She had been wrong. The hardest part was learning who she was without the business. For so long, her identity had been connected to the operation. She had been the person who organized everything, the person who knew every secret, the person who could solve every problem with a telephone call. Now there were no calls to make, no girls waiting for instruction, no wealthy clients, no schedules, no carefully maintained stories, only herself and Wendy. Lorette discovered that rebuilding a relationship could be much harder than building a business. A business could be organized. People could be assigned tasks. Money could be counted. A daughter's trust could not. Some mornings Wendy was warm and affectionate. Other mornings she was distant. Lorette understood. She did not pressure her. She had spent too many years deciding what other people should do. Now she was learning to let Wendy decide for herself. One afternoon, Wendy came home carrying several books. Lorette looked up. "You have been studying all day." "I have been trying." "Trying is good." "I think I am going to need more than trying." Lorette smiled. "Then we will work harder." Wendy placed the books on the table. "You know, Mom, I used to think you were the most organized person in the world." "I was." "No, you were not." Lorette laughed. "That sounds more like it. You hid an entire life from me. I suppose that requires a certain kind of organization." Wendy smiled. For the first time, the joke did not hurt. That mattered. They were beginning to laugh together again. Meanwhile, Barnaby continued reviewing the case. There were still unanswered questions. Not about the main events. Those were clear. But about the people affected by them. He had learned long ago that solving a case did not necessarily solve everything around it. The legal process could determine responsibility. It could establish facts. It could impose consequences. But it could not repair every broken relationship. That required something else. Time. Barnaby thought about Felice. She had survived. She had cooperated. She had provided information that helped expose the operation. But she would have to live with what she had done. That was not something a court could erase. When Barnaby visited her again, she looked healthy. She was sitting by the window with her legs supported. "You look better." "I feel better." "That is good." "I have been thinking, that can be dangerous." Felice smiled. "You are not as serious as you pretend." "I never claimed to be." She laughed. Then she became quiet. "I want to do something different." Barnaby nodded. "What?" "I do not know yet." "That is all right. I have spent so long doing things because someone else told me to." She looked toward the window. "I want to choose something for myself." "That sounds like a good idea." Felice smiled. "You make everything sound simple." "It rarely is." She nodded. "But maybe simple is what I need." Barnaby agreed. She had spent too much time around people who made every decision complicated because complications gave them control. Now she needed something straightforward. A job. A place to live. A routine. People she could trust. Perhaps it would take time. Perhaps she would fail. But she was willing to try. That was important. Across town, the Leclerc household was also changing. Andre Leclerc had survived the investigation without being accused of orchestrating the robbery, but his personal life had been exposed. His relationship with Felice had become impossible to hide. His wife eventually returned from Paris. She had been expecting to come home to an elegant house and an ordinary marriage. Instead, she came home to questions. Andre had to explain himself. For the first time, the expensive paintings on the walls seemed less important than the empty space between them. He had believed that discretion meant protection. Now he understood that secrets could destroy trust just as easily as they could protect appearances. His wife did not scream. She did not make a dramatic scene. She simply asked him one question. Why? Andre struggled to answer. There was no elegant answer. No clever explanation. No excuse that would make everything disappear. Finally, he admitted that he had wanted something outside his marriage. His wife looked at him for a long time. You could have told me. Andre looked down. I was afraid. Of what? Of losing everything. She gave a sad smile. You may have lost it anyway. The conversation was quiet. But it was more painful than an argument, because there was no anger to hide behind, only disappointment. The same pattern appeared everywhere. People had believed that keeping secrets would protect their lives. Instead, the secrets had slowly taken away the things they valued. Barnaby understood that. He had seen it many times. Still, each case was different. Each person believed their situation was unique. Perhaps it was, but the consequences were often surprisingly similar. A lie led to another lie. One secret required another. A small compromise became a habit. The habit became a system. And eventually, the system became impossible to control. The LeClaire robbery had followed exactly that path. It had begun with something that seemed manageable. A discreet relationship. A meeting. A carefully selected client. A plan to take something valuable. Then the plan had expanded. More people became involved. More information had to be hidden. More money had to be moved. More people had to remain silent. And eventually, someone paid a price that nobody had intended at the beginning. The security officer had gone to investigate an alarm. He had expected to complete his shift. Instead, his family received news that would change their lives forever. Barnaby never forgot that. It reminded him why the investigation mattered. Criminal schemes could be described as clever. They could be called sophisticated. They could even be called harmless by the people who created them. But once another person's life was put at risk, the illusion disappeared. There was nothing harmless about it. At the same time, J.R. was discovering that the end of a case did not mean the end of his appetite. One afternoon, he entered Barnaby's office carrying 2 sandwiches. Barnaby looked at him. "You brought lunch. I brought what I could find. What happened to the proper breakfast you always recommend?" "I am learning from experience." Barnaby smiled. "That would be a first." J.R. sat down. "So what happens now?" "We finish the reports." "That sounds exciting." "It is." J.R. looked disappointed. "I thought you might say we were going somewhere." "Where?" "Anywhere with food." Barnaby laughed. The investigation had been exhausting. A little humor was welcome. They ate in silence for a moment. Then J.R. asked another question. "Do you think Lorette will really change?" Barnaby considered it. "I do not know." "You believe her?" "I believe she wants to change." "Is that enough?" "No." J.R. waited. "She will have to prove it." That was the truth. Wanting to change was only the beginning. Lorette would have to live differently. She would have to make different decisions. She would have to accept that some people would never trust her again. She would have to accept that forgiveness could not be demanded. And she would have to be patient. Wendy would decide what their relationship became. Not Lorette. Not Barnaby. Not anyone else. Wendy. That was one of the hardest lessons Lorette had to learn. Love did not mean control. Love meant allowing another person to have choices. Weeks passed. Lorette began searching for legitimate work. At first, she felt embarrassed. She had no idea how to explain the gap in her employment history. She had no desire to describe the truth to every potential employer. Barnaby suggested that she focus on the skills she had developed: organization, communication, management, scheduling, dealing with difficult people. Lorette laughed when he mentioned the last one. "I have certainly had experience with difficult people." Barnaby smiled. "That may be your strongest qualification." She eventually found work assisting with a small, legitimate business. The salary was modest. The office was plain. There were no expensive clients, no secrets, no hidden arrangements. At first, Lorette found the simplicity strange. Then she began to appreciate it. She could go home at night without worrying about who might call. She could answer the telephone without fear. She could look at her daughter without wondering what Wendy might discover next. The first time Wendy visited her new workplace, she looked around. "This is it. This is it. It is very ordinary." "I know." Wendy smiled. "I like it." Lorette looked at her. "Why?" "Because you look happy." Lorette paused. She had not realized it herself, but Wendy was right. For the first time in many years, Lorette did not feel that she had to perform a role. She could simply be herself. It was not glamorous. It was not wealthy. It was not impressive. It was real. and real was enough. Felice also began rebuilding her life. Her recovery was slow. She needed physical therapy. She needed time. She also needed to distance herself from the people who had shaped her old life. Some former associates tried to contact her. She refused. Others offered promises. She refused those too. She had learned that promises were easy. Actions were harder. She chose actions. She kept her appointments. She followed the doctor's instructions. She began looking for legitimate work. She attended counseling sessions. She started writing down her thoughts. At first, the pages were filled with anger, then guilt, then confusion. Eventually, there were plans. Simple plans. Get stronger. Find work. Stay away from trouble. Build something. Help someone else avoid making the same mistake. That final idea became especially important to her. She began volunteering at a community center. She spoke with young women who were struggling with difficult circumstances. She never told them every detail of her own past. She did not need to. She simply told them what she had learned. Easy money often has a hidden price. People who promise to solve all your problems may eventually become the source of your problem. And when someone tells you that you have no choice, look carefully. You probably have more choices than you think. She had learned those lessons the hard way. She wanted someone else to learn them more easily. Months later, Barnaby received a letter. It was from Wendy. She thanked him for helping her mother. She thanked him for listening. She thanked him for not treating her as though she were responsible for the choices of the adults around her. Barnaby read the letter twice. Then he put it away. J.R. noticed. Good news? Barnaby nodded. Very. What did she say? That she is doing well. That is good. Barnaby smiled. She says she is going to university. J.R. grinned. Now that is a happy ending. Barnaby shook his head. I do not think it is an ending. What do you mean? It is a beginning. That was true. Wendy's life was just beginning. She had every reason to believe that her mother's mistakes would define her, but she refused. She wanted to be known for herself, not for her mother's business, not for the people involved in it, not for the scandal. She wanted to build something independent. She wanted to study. She wanted to travel.